He was the bad boy of tennis back in the day, bringing energy, excitement, glamour, and a mass appeal that the game had never witnessed before. But where is Andre Agassi now? In addition to his good looks and showmanship, Agassi was the world number 1 for 101 weeks, won 8 majors and all 4 slams, the year-end championships, and the Olympics gold medal, becoming the only man in history to complete the career Super Slam. With his devastating baseline game and gobsmacking returns, Agassi formed a heated rivalry with the big serving Pete Sampras as the pair ruled the 90s. Having retired in 2006 as an all-time great, some fans have been wondering what the American is up to. 53-year-old Agassi is killing it somewhere else, and it's not in tennis. Take a guess. A few months back, Andre contested a highly anticipated matchup where he won the $1 million purse at the Pickleball Slam alongside Andy Roddick. The pair defeated legends John McEnroe and Michael Chang in what was the first annual event played at the Seminole Hard Rock Casino and Hotel in Hollywood, Florida. In one of my recent videos, I talked about the growing popularity of pickleball and how it's coinciding with the relative decline of tennis in the United States. Turns out that Andre Agassi is one of the many converts and is finding joy in the other racket sport. The event, which saw the 4 legends who boast a combined 17 Grand Slam singles titles between them, saw lots of personality from the participants, and fans relished watching their reactions and arguments since they were audible to the audience. Agassi's wife and WTA legend Steffi Graf also joined the action at some point, to the delight of many. The Pickleball Slam event was inspired by the Match Golf series, which has featured the likes of Tom Brady, Tiger Woods, and Patrick Mahomes. And as the fastest growing sport in the United States, it seemed like a great concept for some of the best racket player brand names to be involved. Here's what Agassi had to say after the experience.
Well, I'll tell you this, I love finally doing something I can actually get better at, because I started going downhill in tennis a long time ago, and pickleball is where tennis players go to die, so I'm officially dying. But what I will say, 100% guys, listen, I never thought I was going to say this. I'm playing this as long as as long as I can walk, I'm playing it. I can't wait to get back after it.
Some tennis fans ain't too happy at the fact that Agassi is big on pickleball, but shouldn't his decision be respected? For someone who said he actually hated the game of tennis, and having to go through the tennis camps, coaches, and all but owed his life to the sport since it made him rich and famous, Agassi seems to be loving pickleball, and no doubt is also enjoying the sponsorship money. Some fans have argued that pickleball is kinda demeaning for ATP legends who participate in it for petty cash, but what do you reckon? When he was 23, Agassi launched his foundation, and looking back on the decision, he says that his sporting accolades can't compare with what he's accomplished since. Agassi had a love-hate relationship with tennis, and will always remember him for making one of the most extraordinary comebacks in tennis, where he slipped from world number 1 in 1995 to a ranking of 141 2 years later, only to rise back to the top in 1999. Such striking evolution endeared him to more fans, and as a way of transitioning out of the sport, he opened the Andre Agassi College Preparatory Academy, a charter school for underprivileged children in his hometown Las Vegas. Since then, he has partnered with investment funds and financed the construction of more than 130 schools. For Agassi, giving opportunity to children through education has become a passion. The 8-time major winner claims that as a child he never really had a choice. Agassi didn't make it past 8th grade in school, and being very much aware of what he missed out on, his goal is to use education as a vehicle to create more choices for kids who literally remind him of himself. As of now, the Andre Agassi Foundation for Education has raised over $150 million and reaches out to about 70,000 lives on an annual basis. But you'd be mistaken to think that Agassi has left tennis completely. Agassi retired in 2006 and kept himself occupied with his business endeavors and philanthropic efforts. But he didn't just leave the sport, he took on coaching gigs and played at charity events. Between May 2017 and March 2018, Agassi coached Novak Djokovic. Unfortunately, their time together didn't bring much success, as Djokovic was mostly injured and needed surgery for his elbow. Besides, they disagreed on a number of things. Agassi then joined Bulgarian former world number 3 Grigor Dimitrov from the end of 2018 until toward the end of 2020. During that time, Dimitrov had his best ever performance, coming at the 2019 US Open where he reached the semi-finals. We definitely cannot rule out a comeback in the future. Agassi, who just turned 53 in April, still has it in him, and he continues to inspire the upcoming generations with his clean strikes, but ironically, he's doing quite the opposite for his kids. Both Agassi and Steffi Graf won just about every title in tennis. They both won career Super Slams, the Australian, French, Wimbledon and US Open majors, alongside the Olympic gold medals and year-end championships. With both parents being former world number ones, one would think that their kids will take after them, but the opposite has happened. This brings us to the couple's journey to parenthood. Agassi dated high-profile stars such as Wendy Stewart and American singer and entertainer Barbra Streisand, who is 28 years older than him. He then got married to Brooke Shields from 1997 to 1999. After they split, Agassi got together with his longtime crush Steffi Graf, who had dated racing driver Michael Bartel from 1992 to 1999. The couple got married in 2001 in a private ceremony. The only witnesses at the wedding were the couple's mothers. Agassi and Graf have a son, Jaden Gill, who was born in 2001, and a daughter, Jazz L, who was born 2003. Both Jaden and Jazz hardly play tennis, and it's not too surprising because Andre and Steffi had previously stated that they had enough of tennis and were somewhat protecting their kids from the sport. Jazz L did previously play a bit of tennis, but we've come to know her as a woman of many talents. She is a trained dancer who has won numerous hip-hop dance competitions over the years, but she doesn't seem to be pursuing a career in the industry. We've also seen her skills in the fashion world. Nowadays, she is showing interest in golfing, which might have been inspired by the Quarter sisters, whom she is friends with. On the other hand, 21-year-old Jaden never really played tennis. Rather, he tried his hands on soccer and other sports before ending up with baseball. He has taken giant strides in becoming a pro baseballer, having recently made the Pac-12 All-Conference baseball team. At the moment, Agassi lives in Summerlin, Las Vegas, with his wife and kids, alongside Graf's mother and brother. The American's post-retirement life has been as eventful as his time on the court. Back in November 2009, he published his autobiography, which caused a lot of controversy at the time. In it, Agassi talked about his childhood and his no-nonsense Armenian father, who emigrated to the United States from Iran, where he was a professional boxer. He described his father as overly demanding and emotionally abusive to the whole family. Yet it was his father who groomed him for greatness on the court, sending Andre to a tennis boarding school under the supervision of the late Nick Bollettieri, who also trained the likes of Jim Courier and Michael Chang at the time. The book also talked about Agassi's struggles with drug use to the disappointment of tennis legends such as Roger Federer and Marat Safin, just to mention a few. Agassi tested positive for methamphetamine in 1997, but remarkably he never received a ban, nor was it ever made public by the ATP. He wrote a letter explaining what had happened, filled with lies, and was let off by the ATP, who covered everything up. Some people are still calling for some retrospective action by the ATP, but what are your thoughts on that? Andre's book has reached #1 on the New York Times bestseller list, won the autobiography category of the 2010 British Sports Book Awards, and was listed on Esquire as one of the 30 best sports book ever written in 2018. Those who know Agassi pretty well know that he has always been one hell of a businessman right from his playing days. From opening a sports-themed restaurant in 1996 to making a $10 million profit on his 10% stake when Nevada First Bank was sold to West Alliance Bancorp in 2006, Agassi and Graf continued to invest in multiple business ventures and participate in philanthropic acts. A few weeks back, he and Steffi Graf visited the Las Vegas getaway of a California-based sports marketing agency and even graced the tennis court there before interacting with the members present. The agency conducts tennis tournaments in order to raise money for the treatment of leukemia and lymphoma. According to multiple sources, Agassi's current net worth is about $150 million, but who knows how accurate these websites are at all. It may be 17 years since Agassi called it a day after his third-round loss at the 2006 US Open, but his legacy remains intact. Bold and flamboyant in style, talented, rebellious, yet humble enough to admit his flaws, Agassi remains one of the greatest players of all time. His time on and off the court is one for the history books. Is it a coincidence that the most popular video on this channel is about Andre Agassi? Check it out.